do know that Michigan is in desperate need to find their next head coach here. By the time the weekend's done, I would guess they need to find somebody. Because if they don't, they're at risk of losing Bryce Underwood. They're at risk of losing this recruiting class that's ranked 11th in the nation. And even if they do hire someone by the time that the weekend's done, like, there's still a risk that all that stuff happens, which is why look, you are Michigan. You're the Block M. You're one of the most prestigious programs in college football. However, whatever list you want to come up with, they're on it for the most enticing jobs there are in the country. You got to go up to a coach who's currently employed and force them to say no. Whether it's via money, that's probably what it's via these days. You got to go force a coach that's currently employed to say no to Michigan. Give them whatever it takes. There's no rhyme or reason why these guys are staying and leaving their respective programs. So go right up to Marcus Freeman. Go right up to Lincoln Riley. Do you want to coach Bryce Underwood? Do you want to come coach for the Block M? Do you want the recruiting to do itself? Like, the prestige of this program does the recruiting. You just got to come here and we'll give you $13 million to do it. That's what it'd probably take to get Lincoln Riley. Marcus Freeman probably wouldn't cost as much, but if you want to give him that, I'm sure I'd get him over to Michigan. Like, he would be considering it, without a doubt. You know, you got to find a next head coach. You got to, in my opinion, go ask Bryce Underwood, hey, at least make him feel special. Even if you're not asking him, who do you want the next head coach to be, you got to go make him feel like he has some say in this and make him feel important so he wants to stay as well, because that is the number one asset you cannot lose through all of this. Because if Bryce Underwood leaves, guess what? You're going to start losing other guys on the team. People are going to follow him to the portal. You're going to start losing the recruits that you signed that want to go play with Bryce Underwood, because all these kids that are signing and have signed in the last week or so, they understand how important and how high of a ceiling Michigan has as long as Bryce Underwood is there. If they believe in him, which all of them do, and he leaves, then there's no reason to believe in the program. And if they hire a coach and Bryce Underwood still leaves, then there's no reason to believe in the coach. I think Bryce Underwood is the most important asset that Michigan has. Maybe even more so than the coach, because you can use him to hire a new coach. It's all burning down in front of our eyes. John's here to do spread picks here in a little bit. What was your reaction to all the news that you had been tipped on about? It was the worst kept secret in college football, is what I've said over and over again. Because it felt like by the time this actually became public yesterday, everyone kind of, even on the national side of things, was like, everyone heard rumblings of what was going on. Just no one was willing to say anything yet.
Yeah, I mean, to start, I think you guys are doing a good job with obviously a complicated issue.
Thanks, John.
I do. I think you're doing a really good job. It's been entertaining radio in terms of just taking it from all angles. To start, obviously, I feel for the wife and the three daughters, all under age 6, in terms of his family. They're the real victims here. You guys were throwing around that word. It's them and no one else. Just terrible how this all played out. We just had, before going into this segment, a PSA that's telling people, and it's, towards high school, hey, try and act like a respectable adult when you're at a game. Don't yell at the officials, this and that.
How about don't sleep with your staffers?
Well, my takeaway is this. If you
do we need to do a PSA that says that?
As a parent of a high school athlete that maybe has aspirations for them going to college, teach them morals and values now. It's your responsibility, because you're not going to get it at higher education. It don't exist from these coaches. They're not people that are led by a moral compass. It's by winning at all costs. Because you touched on something in the open at 9 o'clock. You were like, just in terms of pausing your thoughts, this is someone that the university employs to win. But you also mentioned, because this is college athletics, to mold young minds, to be the leader of men that are barely men, 18 to, okay, now with the transfer portal and everything, maybe up to 24, 25, but young minds. No one cares when hiring about that anymore. Maybe that used to be a pillar when hiring a coach in Michigan and other universities. Now it's win by all costs. And when this search, no matter who conducts it, they're not worrying about character. They're just hoping, like we've kind of been alluding to, hopefully something doesn't pop up scandal-wise. They're not vetting for that. They don't care. They're going to take the winner before everything else, and sometimes you get burned. And for Michigan's basketball program, the last guy before this guy burned. Michigan's football program burned. and there'll be another one in a couple weeks from some other school, I'm sure.
Doesn't it feel like good character is almost a bonus trait now?
Yeah,
when it used to be the number one priority. It's like, oh, he's also a good dude.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's great. He's he cares about the community. That's good.
That's the
It's the
whereas
bonus
that
thing.
used to be like the number one thing. Can you lead?
Yeah.
Now it's like, can you win us football games? Which is really just saying, can you make us money?
That's it. Money and football. And again, it might seem obvious to some, but it used to not be obvious in college football. I mean, you guys talk about too, like, Sherrone's taking the eyes off Notre Dame. How about Lane Kiffin, man? I mean, a guy who left his guys high and dry to go to another school, and does what he wants in his personal life. And hey, you know what? As long as he's a winner for Mr. Kiffin, that's all that matters. So
yeah, he's so loyal to his family. He's going to his daughter's boyfriend's school to coach them.
Yeah, but at least
if only Sherrone was that loyal.
At least Lane Kiffin has the presence of mind. All right, I want to hit on sorority girls. Let me divorce my wife first, so I could do that. Another upstanding guy, Lane Kiffin. But yeah, who knows? Underwood's like thinking to himself too. By the way, I was texting my dad yesterday when this came out. If you're if you're Underwood, you're asking Michigan for a raise first and foremost. I'm not worried. You talked about being maybe on the inside for the head coaching hire. That's one thing. I'm asking for more money. You want me to stay? More
I'm
money.
hurting my own
Raise
reputation
my contract
being here.
at 100%. 100%.
I don't want to be associated with this.
Yeah. So if I'm him, and then the final thought too, and maybe this will direct into an Underwood conversation for anyone that is still on the number one thing plaguing college sports right now are these players getting paid. Thank the Lord that's happening. The fact that this school and I don't know what source said that Michigan held off on this news to secure the recruits. Like you guys
This
are talking
is all
about
theory.
that. Okay, so
but based on the statement that even Warde put out himself, it was like, yeah, we've known about this, but we didn't have like concrete evidence. I'll hold on, let me pull up the exact thing. Keep going.
And you can pull up the quote, but that's point blank right there. They don't care about the future of these young kids. If they know they had this looming, they wanted to help secure a better future for their football team. So, yeah, when stuff like this comes out, there should be no restrictions for these players to leave. If you want to go into the portal, you should. You shouldn't have to wait. You should be able to go whenever you want when ththese programs and these coaches could leave at the drop of a hat where contracts don't matter. Because it was always fun. When you and I would do this last year, and, on the payoff and stuff like that, people would text in on the text line and be like, yeah, but coaches don't leave as often as these players leave, blah, blah, blah. We just had a coach, and this is more Kiffin than Moore, leave before the college football playoff. That's the ultimate goal in this sport, to get there, and he left them for another program.
John, one of the names I've thrown out is Clark Lee. He just signed a 6-year extension. I don't care.
Yeah, no, it
they
doesn't matter.
They can just sign him for more money.
It don't matter. None of these coaches' contracts matter. Just such unbelievable stuff that's coming through. But yeah, those are the observations last night for me. And again, first and foremost, and that's what I said, I say a prayer to the wife and the 3 daughters, young daughters too.
Well, yeah, there's some other people that might be involved as well that ended up being in danger last night.
Yeah, I don't know the full, obviously that's still coming through and obviously, like you said, once we have information from reputable sources, we'll relay it. But
this is the direct quote. I can't believe we went 2 hours without reading this. But this is from Warde Manuel. Head football coach Sherrone Moore has been terminated with cause effective immediately following a university investigation. Credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This is me now jumping in.
Sure.
Whose salary went up 50% from 2024 to 25. That seems weird. I'll go back to the quote now. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and UM maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. Biff Poggi has been appointed as head football in an interim capacity effective immediately.
Right, yeah, they have zero tolerance for that unless, of course, you
They
beat
beat
Ohio
Ohio
State
State.
and are in the college football playoff. And, of course, that's the one we have a little bit of tolerance. That's kind of what the quote should have said there. Disgusting.
Oh, man.
It's only a matter, like, Pete Thamel's going to have a big story on this by the end of the week, I would imagine.
And our boy Adam Schefter's sure been avoiding all this news, huh?
No.
Man, he loves to dip his toes
That's not true.
He loves to dip his toes into college football and other sports until it affects his alma mater, you know?
I'm honestly disappointed Pablo Torre didn't have this far
That's
beyond.
what I'm saying, man.
Far beyond what. It
He
took
should have been on
Michigan
this
actually
weeks
saying
ago.
something for anything to actually become public. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pablo Torre
Well,
should have been on this ages.
That's at least if we're breaking this down in terms of what you want to discover next. Obviously, what happened last night in terms of the assaults, number one.
From just a human aspect.
Yes,
Like, I want to know what happened last night.
And
That's not even sports. That's just like, what happened? This is like a Dateline episode.
Yeah, just based on the fact, too, if we're tipped off to it, and it was the best or the worst kept secret in college football, he didn't know the shoe was about to drop with this, and he just unraveled last night. That's the most puzzling thing right now, where it's like, this is where, it just blindsided him? Because it didn't blindside anybody else.
I don't know. Sometimes when you're in the middle of it, like when you're in the trees,
I get
you
it.
can't see the forest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're that close to it, sometimes I do think you become a little oblivious to what's going on around you.
I guess.
My friends and I were debating, do you think the wife knew about what was going on? And they were like, how could she not? I was like, sometimes people are afraid to just look someone in the eye and tell them, hey, just so you know, this person with a tremendous amount of power at one of the biggest universities in the world, that guy's not being faithful to you. I have a hard time thinking someone actually told her about this until last night.
I know. If he knew that it was the shoe was going to drop, I mean, obviously should have told him without the impending that it was going to become public. But you do that if you know shoe's going to drop and it's going to become public.
Well, the police got called on him before the public statement came out, right?
You prioritize. No, I'm saying even weeks before that. If you knew before you're playing Ohio State, that should take priority, making sure your wife knows what happened and what's going to happen, and you're going to be thrust into the public light than worrying about the game plan against Ohio State. But
which
that's
he
not
clearly
how...
wasn't worried about that either.
Well,
he hadn't been worried about the game plan for weeks.
Oh man,
he was just worried about making sure his blue collar jacket was fresh on Monday mornings for the press conference. Man, that was his biggest concern.
It does make a lot more sense now why he was so buttoned up and just gave the ChatGPT answers over and over again at these press conferences.
Right. Imagine how nervous he probably was.
He probably
at
did.
all these.
And he
When's
probably
somebody going to ask me about this?
Yeah, yeah. Because
Yep.
if it was getting leaked out, I'm sure some of those guys sitting in the press conference were aware of it too and got tipped off about it as well.
Right. I mean, we saw that writer a couple weeks ago on Twitter.
Oh yeah, that Ohio-based
some
guy.
Ohio-based writer tweeted this out and he was the first person to go public with it. And it was like, whoa, and no one else had anything to follow up with it.
Because that's not something you can write about without concrete evidence. And it took Warde Manuel actually firing him for there to be the concrete evidence. I want to know what he was presented to all of a sudden be like, you know what? We do have to fire him. You know what it probably was? Well, these guys, these 2 5-stars that we got have been here for like 5 days now. Do you think
they're for sure staying, right?
You think enough time has passed? Someone give them a call. Make sure they know they're getting paid when they get here.
Yep.
I don't know if he's going to be the AD by the end of the day.
That and the bowl schedule coming out, and he's like, we're in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl? Wait a minute. All right.
The Cheez-It Bowl.
The Cheez-It Bowl.
If we would have got the Pop-Tart Bowl, we would have waited this thing out.
100%. 100%. Oh, man. What you think he's gone, though, huh? Or it could be.
I've heard that there's going to be a director of boards meeting today discussing Warde Manuel. I don't know. I think this comes down to if he gets fired, it's because they don't trust him to hire the right coach.
Which if that's the reason why, that's just terrible, right? Like, my whole thing is, how can you let him remain as the athletic director with everything that has happened? I'm not saying that he's directly at fault for all of the scandals that have gone down.
I don't think he's at fault for anything.
Because he's not. But it's happening in your building, Like, you are in charge of everything that goes on in that athletic department. And bad things have continued to happen, so...
Yeah, and remember, obviously, it got to this next level, next extent, but he could have easily been like, you know what, let's just break ties with everyone who was involved with the Harbaugh era in terms of...
Well, you can't do that when Harbaugh literally on his way out the door says, this guy's going to be your head coach now.
Like, that's where he mishandled it, because now, all right, Harbaugh says Moore's the guy, now I got to say Moore's the guy.
All right, let's play a game before we do our spread picks. It's called Was This AI?
Uh-oh.
John, this mugshot right here that you're looking... We should have got this in the YouTube.
Oh, I can pull it up.
I don't know.
Is it AI or not?
I don't
Because
know.
I still have no idea. I think it's real, but like if you told me it's now we're at a point where I don't know what's AI and what's not.
The police department didn't post it themselves?
No, but they confirmed that he is in their custody.
Sure, yeah. I mean, not that usually they would be the first ones to post it. Usually there's some media that gets it somehow, but
I mean, it doesn't look like AI, but a lot of AI doesn't look like AI, so.
correct. What a world.
What a world.
I know John loves AI.
Yeah. No, it's so great.
All right, you guys want to just like take a quick